Amen. Could I ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And also, could you silence your phones, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the order is the agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda or any questions or additions?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as read.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, James. All in favor of agenda approval? Okay, great. Reports by the mayor, council, and staff are included in your packet. If you have any questions with those, we'll be happy to answer any of those after the meeting, or any other day, for that matter. Going to new business, item number 1, resolution 2025-15-2025. This is the Elmig Street Improvement Project. I'll turn it over to Jerry Hood to speak on this.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Our annual LMIG contract is, of course, provided by funds from the Georgia Department of Transportation as well as local funds. You budget a certain amount every year for local road maintenance. This year, the selected project was extensive repair work in the village area, as well as some extensive repair work on Peachtree Road. You advertised for bids appropriately, opened bids on the 27th of May. You had 4 valid bids, all from qualified contractors. The low bidder was Allied Paving of Pendergrass, Georgia. Their low bid is $286,015. You also have some, that is under budget, so you do have some flexibility in that. Always with paving, when you start excavating, you'll find some other issues in the project. And I think especially on Peachtree Road, Jamie, we'll find some areas that we want to spend a little extra money there. Well-traveled road. It's an older road with very little base. But I think this is a very good contracting firm. We have found no issues with them in our due diligence. We would recommend in our letter that the council pass the resolution to award the contract to that firm. Following that, we issue construction contracts to them, have their bonds and insurance inserted. We do another QC review of the documents, get those signed locally, and then pass them on to the city attorney for a final review. And from there, we will have pre-construction conference. The paving season will end somewhere around November, but I would anticipate this would be starting somewhere around the 1st of August and get done by the end of October at a minimum. Any questions?
Mr. Jerry, is this a total repayment from
It's
all the way
passed.
from 53 down to the bridge?
I wish. No, sir. It's extensive patching. I think that's going to happen.
Right.
Of course, we have a major water line project that'll be coming through there later this year. Once that is done, then I think we should, start planning for a major project there.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jerry.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll move on to item number 2, resolution 2025-16. This is the water distribution system improvements, phase 2. I will also turn this over to Jerry Hood to discuss.
Thank you, Mayor. This also continues to extend the 12-inch water line grid that we've been working on several years. We advertised that project appropriately, opened bids on May 6th. You received 12 bids on that project. That was the most bids I have seen on any local government project in probably a decade or more. Very competitive. We had a new company, Civil Construction of Jefferson. They are, of course, a spinoff from a larger company out of Gwinnett. We did do a pretty good extensive interview with them. They're about $200,000 lower than the other 2 bidders. We talked to them several times, make sure they were comfortable with their bid, looked at their prices with them. They do have very low overhead, and we saw no reason not to award it to them. They have adequate personnel, equipment, and they're local. That's helpful that you don't have a lot of mobilization costs. So we see no reason not to award the contract to them. If the council feels led to do so, similarly, we will issue that once you're past the resolution, and we'll assemble contract documents, and that project take a little bit longer than the paving project. I would envision it starting somewhere around 1st of August and be finished by the end of the year.
This is coming down New Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we'll need road money after that
Absolutely,
for that repair.
absolutely.
And this is within budget?
Yes, ma'am, very much so.
Council, any questions?
Both of these, are there assurances in the contract that they won't exceed their bid by a certain amount, or?
It's unit price, and in these cases, with these unit price contracts, we always have a, with any price, a very good question. To ensure we don't have, have to come back with the council, change order. We found this to be true. We have an allowance, item number 1, if you look at your bid tab, we set an allowance in there for unforeseens. You still have to approve that, but we have, 60 grand in there for unforeseen circumstances. There's a lot of, your water system was initiated in 1961. There's still a lot of things in there we don't know about. And every time we get into a project, it's kind of like open heart surgery. Well, Jamie can testify to that. We find things, where's this coming from? That's one reason we're having such a hard time with the North Water Tank, because we have so much cross feed. But we do have that allowance in there. You won't allow, unless you want it to, we will not go over that contract amount.
Okay, and that's for item 1 and 2. I should have asked under item 1. The LMIG?
Correct, yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Item number 3, this is the .95 sewer expansion. Jerry?
Yes, ma'am.
Back to you.
We have been working on this project together for about 4 years. All projects of this magnitude take a long time to plan, obtain permits for, and get built. Typically, in the past, we used to have what we call a design, bid, build procedure. Most of these large projects now, by and large, are done in a collaborative fashion. This is a construction manager at risk. Your selected contractor, we selected them through a competitive statement of qualifications review about a year ago. So Reeves Young, Mr. Matt McCormick is with us tonight with Reeves Young. We have done about 5 projects with them. It's really good to have the contractor on board in the planning stages. You get that contractor experience. They're better at procuring at the lowest possible price good quality equipment, and also can help the engineers to have some economical moves to save funds during the design process. So once we get all the plans finished, and we have collaborated with them for about a year, we came up with a guaranteed maximum price GMP of $31,767. 176 for the construction cost. That has a lot of allowances in it. We have found in every project with Reeves Young, we have come under that budget. This is a GMP guaranteed maximum. Unless you decide to do something really out of the ordinary, it's not going to go up. If you want to add something major, the price could go up, but the price will not exceed this amount. One of the reasons we've seen some of the prices increase on this project, of course, we've had the inflationary issues, but we've also built in, you're a growing so fast. We have built in, probably about 30% extra, capacity into the design of some of the infrastructure there for your next step, which would be 2 MGD. We would envision going right into the 2 MGD expansion about the time you finish this one, unless the economy makes a big downturn. For instance, the headworks is sized wide enough, big enough to accommodate 2 MGD. Why build 1 MGD today when we're going to be expanding it to 2 in less than 2 years? Similarly, the effluent pump station, when you went to this design flow, you can no longer discharge into the small Sells Creek there. We had to move all the way down a mile away to below Sells Mill, at a discharge point there. So you have a massive pump station there at the tail of the plant. Why design that for 1 MGD when you're going to go to 2 MGD in a short time? So the pump station is set up to do 2 MGD as well as the pipeline. Why do 2 8-inch pipes when 12 will take the whole 2 MGD? So we're building that. Similarly, a lot of the hydraulics in the pipe in the plant compound, we're sizing for 2 MGD. So a lot of that's built into this price.
Can I ask you a question? I'm sorry, were you
Sure.
done?
Go ahead, please.
So, some of the budgeted money for 2.0, what we call 2.0,
Mm-hmm.
that money, that's actually going here, which will reduce the cost of the 2.0.
Correct.
Is that a correct
Absolutely.
statement?
Yes.
That's 30%, Jerry.
That's my
Fair enough.
ballpark figure.
Jerry, how long do you think we can stay at our current plant before we have to move off-site to more property because of EPA or EPD regulations?
Well, as far as EPD and EPA regulations, they're about as stringent as they're going to get for a while. The only thing I see forthcoming is some of these forever chemicals that you hear all the talk about, PFAS and that sort of thing. We may have to enhance our treatment technology to remove some of that. I don't know. Brazelton, your neighbor here, is by far ahead of the curve on PFAS because they're discharging in the Mulberry River, and about 2 miles downstream, Winder's going to be taking water out. And we've gone through all the testing there, and we've had public meetings with the public and City of Winder. They're not going to require Brazelton to do anything about the PFAS right now, even though they're showing up in the effluent to some degree. In the effluent, they are exceeding the MCL, the maximum contaminant level, slightly, but at the water intake, they're far below. So they're not requiring any action. But as far as technology, that would be the only thing I would envision in the next 10 years. The other thing is, as you've seen with a lot of the documents we have submitted over time, we designed for 250 gallons per house per day. And we've seen that over the last 20 years go down. In Houston, for instance, in the winter without irrigation, we're seeing your sewer customers using about 90 gallons a day. So you got some fluff in there as far as customer count. So in Brazelton, they have 6,778 sewer customers right now. They're running about 1.4 MGD right now at the plant. So I see a lot of, I was always a little skeptical of low flow plumbing fixtures. I think they work pretty good. I think they keep per capita water use and the per customer water use down. So I don't see us having to really think about that too much. I think we might keep it in the back of our mind, but I don't see having to do much about that in the foreseeable future. You're running about 370,000 gallons a day now at the plant. Yeah. Okay. So we need this new capacity, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the 2 MGD in your plans, I think you're in really good shape for a good while. And I don't see where Houston can expand much either. You're kind of blocked on all the sides.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jay, could you repeat the number of, customers for browsers? I'm just curious about that number.
Bryson has,
Yes,
I think it was, the last count was 6,778. Don't hold me to that, though, but it's in that ballpark.
it's on video, so I'm holding you.
Okay, that's fine, yeah.
Council, any questions? Any further questions?
Thank you, Chair.
Good summary, Jerry.
We recommend the council approve this, contract. I think you will be very pleased with Reeves Young. I wouldn't endorse anybody if I didn't feel good about that.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Item number 4, personnel policy. Who's talking, Tiffany or you, Jennifer? Here, I got mine out. Pass it back when you're done, though. Oh, wait. Is that the right one?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
okay, Mayor and Council, myself and Jennifer have worked on trying to come up with a new policy for travel, training and travel. Just the more we grow, the more our council is getting more involved with wanting to take, training. We just kind of wanted to make sure that we're being good stewards of the citizens' money, that we're doing what we can, to make sure that when we say we're going somewhere, that's what we're doing. We did reach out to other cities to kind of get their feedback on their policies that they use. Most of them have went to, I guess you would call it almost like a cap on if you drive so far inside the city, you just travel back and forth each day. If you go outside those boundaries, that's when you would get lodging, or such. It kind of went 30 miles to 60 miles. We kind of just went in the middle based on like Duluth, Dahlonega, places we knew classes were around. Obviously Savannah's a whole different ballgame. We wouldn't expect y'all to drive back and forth. So, we went with, no lodging within inside 45 miles. That, obviously that can be changed if y'all deem, or we can add some different verbiage, if we need to, make it where, that exceptions could be made by city manager or designee, like it says in other places in the policy. We did do, once lodging or training is scheduled and paid for by the city, that, it needs to be canceled within enough time for the city to recoup the funds. And if it's not, then staff, elected officials, whoever it is, would be responsible for reimbursing the city those funds, of the cost. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the training. Everybody gets their certificates at the end. Most people turn them in if you go to a training and you leave, not due to an emergency or whatever. Or if you just choose not to show up, the city would ask to be reimbursed at that point. There are certain circumstances, like I said, that you wouldn't be required to reimburse the city. And that may be, y'all may want to change the verbiage on that to something like city managers, or designees discretion or whatever. I'll let y'all discuss.
Yeah, I'll just have a couple comments.
Okay.
Can I borrow yours? I think, it's important to, in the paragraph above the yellow, if you're looking at the yellow part, all requests contingent upon availability of funds. I think that's really important to bring up, although that's already in the policy, that does affect elected officials as well. Not sure about the 45. I think that's negotiable. I would like to have a conversation about that. What I wanted to ask actually was, I'd like to include something in here about, how we have city events that we pay. I'm going to give you an example. We pay around, I think, $600 to $800 for a table at events that's held by the county. And we do that based on people saying, yeah, I'm going. Can we could we add some wording around that kind of commitment is, you know,
Like if you make a commitment, you don't go, you pay.
or you find someone to replace, I mean, because we don't want to, and I know we've kind of talked through this. We book a table for, I think it's 8 people, and 3 show up. And, yeah, we could have booked a half table, basically. So, anyway, I just kind of want some wording in there about that. If you can wordsmith that a little bit. Or maybe just county-sponsored events. I don't know what the right wording is. We can work on that, but something to that effect. Thank you. Council, any questions, comments?
I think it's a great policy.
Mm-hmm.
Well needed. I'm with the mayor on the 45 miles. I just hope that whether it be mayor and council or staff or whatever, that the policy is the policy for the city and not just for a certain area. I think it's a great job.
Just trying to be good stewards. And the mayor was,
I'm adamant about this. I asked them to
yeah,
do
she
that.
was the one that requested this, so that we would be, good stewards with,
Dave? What, I'm sorry, I kind of misunderstood your comment. What did you say about the 45-mile thing? What was your comment about that?
That we have just one policy, that we don't have a policy for like one group or another. Because at one time, it wasn't too long ago, we spoke about some of our water and sewer people living 50 miles away. And so I think it would be advantageous to the city that whatever the policy is, it applies to the whole city, not applying to specific areas.
Yeah, what you're speaking of is when they were on call.
Yes, ma'am.
And I kind of thought about that as well, to be honest with you. You said you kind of agree with the mayor. I'm just making sure. I don't agree with the 45 miles. I'm just saying that. I think that's negotiable. For me personally, when I have training in Duluth at 8:30 in the morning, I'd rather be in Duluth in the morning and not in Clifton. So anyway, that's just my thoughts and my opinion. I don't know if you were agreeing with that part or not.
No, I just think it's a good policy.
A policy. For both.
Policy, yeah.
Okay.
The mileage, that's something the mayor and council will vote on, I guess, and come to a decision on where we're at. I just think it's a great policy to have.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any thoughts on the miles?
I think, when we all went to Atlanta for training, that's 60 miles from here.
It's only one way. Oh, I don't know how many miles it is to Atlanta.
Yeah, we would do it one way, so it's,
so you would.
You're
so you would get
barely
lodging for that.
Lodging for that.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
But we're saying,
We were there for 3 days.
that's right.
yeah, we're kind of thinking like we have a lot of training in Gainesville, or I know like our water and sewer guys do. Like, obviously, we wouldn't want to offer lodging for that per se. I mean, like, that's close enough. You drop, Athens is another good one. I know the mayor mentioned she's had some in Duluth. Myself and Jennifer, I know, had several in Duluth.
Atlanta's
Scott had one in Duluth.
Yeah, Atlanta's 43 miles. That's where it gets a little tricky.
Oh, well, that makes sense, what you're saying. So maybe,
Downtown.
and then maybe we change that.
Yeah, that's all we're
Yeah,
saying.
that's where we're wanting your advice on what is the best number.
Okay. But I agree with Dave
Yeah,
too,
but I'm
that
glad
it
you
should
did
be,
that.
Dave, are you trying to kind of convert even the ones that are, where they're not, the other things, like, I know you're talking about the 50 miles or something. You want to try to make, whatever number we come up with should be consistent across the board.
Well,
Okay.
and that, this personnel policy is for mayor and council and staff, all of it together.
No, but we're not even just talking about travel. We're talking about even some of the other policies that have distance. Thinking we're having one distance, right?
They're talking about taking home a vehicle. What's the mileage? Do we
Consistent,
stop at a 50-mile radius or
55.
the 55?
yeah. I understand what you're saying. I didn't think about all that.
That's
We
good
have to-
input. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, we may have to bring that back up and look at that. too.
Anybody else have any input?
I just thought, just briefly, I wonder if, 45 miles each way, a single day is fine, in my opinion, because I drive 35 every day. But maybe if it's a multi-day thing, that you don't go home that night or something? It's probably introducing
Yeah,
another variable into the thing. But if it's a 2-day
That's
thing,
exactly what I'm talking about. I don't mind
Yeah.
driving in the morning,
yeah.
but to drive back at night and then go back in the morning again.
So maybe that's how we parse that out.
Yeah, and I think,
That's a good idea.
I think we talked
When-
earlier, we would wordsmith that a little bit and,
Yeah,
'cause
but we may could
multi-day-
knock it down to like 30 miles, but we're not doing like day before lodging, like we'll do
Something
day
like that.
of,
Yeah,
the day,
something
you know,
like that.
instead of, I mean, there's gotta be a give and take to some,
Like if
and
it's
that's why I said we may
10
could just
days,
put
have
in,
1 day of lodging, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Mhm.
like, yeah, if it's like a Monday,
Mhm.
Tuesday class, you
That
don't
would
go
make
down on
Like
Sunday.
one day you can leave at 6 a.m. if that's what it takes. But to do that both days and get home at 7 p.m. is a bit much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah,
that makes
Tina,
sense. Let's
So,
do that.
so we'll
Good
work
way
on
to
the
look at it.
wording, that, we'll look at it again on Tuesday next week when we vote. And, we'll obviously get it out to you. But if you have any other suggestions, please let, Jennifer or Tiffany know.
And I will need to get it out tomorrow because.
Okay, let them know today.
Vote Tuesday. We're gonna do it early.
That's what I said.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, any other on that one?
Jennifer, real quick, do we know when we actually will get to see next year's training schedule at all? It doesn't, for next
what?
year, like when will GMA and,
Yeah.
I know. That would help us a lot to know when the training,
I mean, you kind of base off what they do this, this.
yeah,
year,
but they don't always do it in the
kind of-
same spots.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's
Yeah,
not
we're kind of
always-
in the same
We'll
boat.
definitely have to look at that come August when we get back from, not that we're gonna be in Savannah until August, but, that could be bad. Well, there goes our budget. But anyway, we have to really think about that during budgeting, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Item number 5, purchase of lawnmower for Public Works. Who's speaking to this? Jamie. should,
Jamie.
But anyway,
Jamie, take
come
it
on up,
away.
Jamie.
Jamie came
Podium.
to discuss it. Come here, right here.
You don't need no papers.
Yeah,
Here,
use that microphone so
mic,
it's
yeah.
all, I may have to reset it.
Yeah. You're loud enough
You could
without
use
it. Here, take on the mic. There it goes.
working.
All right, so basically, Sotheby's down here at Houston, you know, they take trades in on old equipment, and we have 2 pieces of equipment that haven't been used since I've been here and speaking with some of the other employees for 4 or 5 years, just been sitting, not being used. And I gave them the model numbers, let them look at it, and they're offering, you know, $8,000 on 2 pieces of equipment that we don't use for trade-in. The mower I'm looking
Can you
at,
raise the mic a little bit?
the mower that I'm looking at, the unit price is $12,650. All right, so they've knocked it down to under $10,000 at $9,993. So if y'all are okay with it and pass it, the city would pay $1,993.50 for a brand new lawnmower for us to use.
Yes, but I do want to clarify something. We're not asking for you to approve the amount of the money because,
budget.
it's in the budget. What we're asking per our auditor is when we have, capital, equipment that, that was not listed in the budget, that you're approving that.
Jamie, how many lawnmowers will that make?
3 total.
I win, James. That was my guess. Anyway, sorry. We had a rolling bet
What did
here.
you say?
4?
Oh, you
No.
said we had 4?
I said 4, Dr. Sterling said 5, Ab said 6.
I said 3. I win.
Ab, how did you get to 6?
I've noticed some grass that needed cutting, so I think that's a good deal on both those.
Jamie, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie, thank you.
Um,
$4,000 each.
Ben, could you make sure you put in the paper that I won the bet? Please, okay, thank you.
That's right. And it's on
Oh,
live.
how come we weren't part of
And,
that?
oh yeah, that's true, it's on live. Council, any questions?
Where did we win?
I would just like to commend Jamie. Using that kind of thought and thinking of the city and saving the money and getting a deal like this. I wish I could get a deal like that. That was sweet.
Do you have
That was
anything to
wonderful.
trade in, Dave?
He's gonna negotiate for me from now on.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go.
And how long did it take for you to cut your lawn with what he bought?
Well, not very long. About one swipe over at Crestwood.
Probably. I shouldn't
Okay,
say
thank
that
you very
public.
much. Do you want me, can I say it, or do you want to say it?
Say what?
Executive motion.
What we gotta do, Susan?
Sorry.
Jab.
If anyone would like to address the mayor and council on any issue this evening, please raise your hand, I'll call you up. All right, seeing no hands, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to make a motion to go in executive for real estate and personnel. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Dave. All in favor? All right, see you in a bit. Thank you. Long bit.
Yeah, don't they?
Yeah,